Unit number 10 is called Close to Nature. We will start talking about the vocabulary and the phrasal verbs that use the prepositions up and down. For example, in the phrasal verbs using preposition up, we have keep up, which means being able to follow somebody. Another example is to do up, which means to redecorate a place. Then we have the phrasal verbs that use the preposition down. For example, narrow down, which means reduce something. Also, we have the example track down, which means investigate. Then we have expressions that use the word eye. For example, keep an eye on, which means being aware of. Then we have expressions using the word strength. For example, back to full strength, which means recover your strength. Then we have a second part of vocabulary and expressions. For example, to hone your skills in something, to perfect your skills, or to rear young, to breed an animal's calf. Finally, we have the compound nouns with nouns plus a preposition. For example, a clear out, which means cleanliness, or a setback, which means a mishap. In unit number 10, we deal with nouns that can be countable or uncountable. In the countable ones, we find idea and point. And in the uncountable nouns, we find research, information, advice, and news. But we also have nouns that can be countable and uncountable at the same time. For example, there's a space between you and me, meaning the physical space, or the astronauts will travel through space, meaning the space where you can see the stars. Another example is there is a hair in my foot, which means that it's only one hair, or she has a blonde hair, that means the entire hair.
The second grammar point in this unit is working with it. There are 3 ways to emphasize sentences when communicating using it. The first is it as a preparatory subject. For example, in the first one, it is used plus an infinitive verb. For example, it is not unusual to find something. Another example is when using it plus a WH word, like it is interesting, how important, etc. And the last example is using it to refer to something that happens later. For example, it was John who came out with me, not James. The second function is using it as a preparatory object. In the first sentence, we can see the it using between a verb and the infinitive form following it. I find it hard to believe how many endangered species there are. And in the second example, the it is between the verb and the clause. I love it when they sing that song. The last way to use the it is to report as a reported verb. In the first case, it is thought that water exists on Mars. And there are some other examples that are part of fixed expressions, set phrases. For example, it's often said that something, but I think, etc.